Someone promised me a birthday cake and disappointed. Let me take you through on how I made my birthday cake myself. Making this cake was a journey. In fact, it was an adventure. The recipe I used said 500 grams of sugar and 500 grams of margarine. And I am sure what I used was 500 grams of margarine. 250 each. And of course, I bought fuel to use my mixer because NEPA will always be NEPA. These vendors will not buy me. Maybe they added jara for me in that margarine because I don't know what happened. I got the margarine from two different stores at different occasions from two male vendors. Maybe they added jara for me. Again, the recipe said 600 grams of flour. So I converted it to cups and I was having 4.5 cups of flour. I sifted it very well in case if there's any foreign particles in the flour and also to make the flour very light. The recipe also said 2 teaspoons of baking powder. The last thing I added is called cake preservative and I added a very little quantity. The recipe also said 10 large eggs. I had 9 eggs at home, so I had to send someone to go and get 1 extra one. If you're not sure about the freshness of your egg, please crack differently to avoid putting a bad egg into the good ones. I added 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. At this point, everything was going well. I was checking the mixer at interval to scrape the batter. I allowed the sugar and butter to cream very well before I started adding my egg bit by bit. What I passed through on this particular night, I don't wish for my enemy. From the video, you could tell that the sugar and the butter was creaming absolutely very well. I continued to add the egg bit by bit, hoping for the best. I never hoped for the worst. In fact, to be sincere, I never prepared for the end result. I thought everything was going to come out well. This is where my problem began. I used the biggest mixing bowl to sift the flour. Now I'm not using the second biggest one to mix, and it was not enough. I continued to fold in the flour bit by bit as I was told, hoping that everything will enter inside this mixing bowl. At this point, it was obvious that it is mission impossible. I had to put the flour in another bowl, then use the bigger bowl to continue my folding. Sure, you remember that man they used to call Job in the Bible? I suffered past him this particular evening. You know, when everything seemed normal, the whole process, everything was just going well. All of a sudden, the twist happened so fast. All thanks to the presence of this mixer, because maybe in an emergency was for end, and all thanks to my flatmates as well for always coming through for me. This particular one no follow. He's waiting for the cake to get ready so that he will eat it. At this point, we are done with the batter and we greased our pan. And before now, our oven has been preheated. When I started pouring in the batter into the baking pan, like everything was looking so creamy. I was so optimistic. I could not wait for the end result until Eko said batter 18. We had to shake the pan so that the batter will settle properly. And I also cleaned the pan very well because as a baker, my work is supposed to look neat now. People are looking up to me. This oven has been preheated for some minutes. I didn't know if the problem was from the setting. I think I did not set the function very well. And I was told that the cake was supposed to bake for 45 minutes. 30 minutes later, the fuel finished. I had to rush out like a thief to go and buy another fuel. This was around past 9. With my neighbor Chidema, like I told you guys earlier, we see waiting past shake bazaar. 45 minutes later, cake I had to adjust the function knob. Watch the stuff that I used. Another 20 minutes later, I checked it. The down one was beginning to look okay, but the upper one was still white, even though I swapped their position. Another 20 minutes later, Jen and Fuel finished again. I checked the down one, it was properly cooked. There was no moisture at all. I checked the second one, it was not properly cooked. And tell me why it was slightly burnt on the top. There was still presence of little moisture. I had to flip it to face the upside down west. The cake was looking gorgeous, but there was a problem. At this point, everybody had slept except me and Chidema. I transferred the undercooked cake to my gas Ozubo to cook properly while I check on the second one. It was at this point, it was as if I baked oil with a sprinkle of cake. The oil was just oozing out. The second cake was ready and it was not left out. Faith, if you are planning on baking your birthday cake yourself, you better abort mission. Did you see that oil oozing out? They will chop it like that too because my money no go waste. This was the outcome this morning. I am going to carry it to the office like this. If you eat, you drink water. Ever since I joined the baking industry, I never rest. Thanks for watching and follow me for no reason.